all of this comes as we have been tracking energy companies that are considering increasing their investment in Venezuela's infrastructure. Shell, for instance, has been exploring a move back into the oil-rich nation after the capture of President Nicolas Maduro, and it says all of its employees in Venezuela are now accounted for. Chevron already has considerable operations in the country. It too says its workers there have been accounted for. Jorge Piñon is a former BP executive in Latin America and the Caribbean, and he joins us now. Good to have you on the program. I mean, we've pointed out, right, that Chevron and other energy companies working in Venezuela say their employees are accounted for. Operations have not really been disrupted, but we've been looking at images from places like the airport. The airport remains closed. Some of the areas in this country are still unreachable. What kind of adversity do you see ahead in Venezuela? First, for finding survivors, right? Then treating the wounded, but then trying to get the basic infrastructure up and running here.
The major challenge that the industry and also the population in Venezuela faces today is the lack of electricity. Electric power is down. So it is very difficult, for example, for pumps that move either oil or water for them to operate. So the main challenge today is not only, of course, all of the debris and destruction that we all see, but again, the lack of electric power. On the oil sector, there seems to be no structural change or impact. But remember, there are over 3,000 oil wells, 600 kilometers of pipeline, number of export ports, warehouses. So still the country has to go, at least the industry has to go through a tedious inspection of its infrastructure to see in what shape it really is.
Yeah, and that in itself, as you point out, without power and even water in some areas is going to be a Herculean task. I mean, I argue that this earthquake will have a generational impact for Venezuela. I don't know if you agree with that, but I do want to make a fine point that this isn't just about business, right? Venezuela needs the proceeds from their energy and their resources to rebuild the country now more than ever. How do you see that being possible, and how do you believe a lot of these energy companies with their investment will be critical to that?
Oh, I think long term, the best news is the news that that Chevron and Shell and others have already made public their intent to develop the 300,000 million barrels of reserves that Venezuela has. By the way, not only oil, but also natural gas. So long term, I think the storyline for Venezuela is very positive. Short term, they just last month surpassed the 1 million barrels a day of production. At 1.2 million barrels a day of production. That certainly now is going to come to a halt here during the next 30 days. Again, maybe not because of structural changes, but because of the lack of electricity. So we'll have to see. Long term, I think Venezuela still has a very positive story to tell.
And yet they do have to recover from what we're looking at now. I wonder how much of a liability you believe the current regime is. I mean, these are the same people who have mismanaged the economy for more than a decade. I mean, look, Jorge, I've spent a lot of time in Venezuela. I've been in hospitals that had no supplies. I've been in morgues that didn't have body bags. You know what they are facing here. Can this government really manage this kind of a disaster?
It's not only this government, but the next government to come. A lot of the oil companies are saying, fine, I might very well sign an agreement with the current government, but when there are free elections and a new government comes into place a year or 2 years from now, that new government decides that the rules of the game are going to change. So a lot of the issues that international oil companies face in Venezuela is political continuity. This certainly is a temporary government. Eventually, Venezuela will have free elections, and we'll see what the new leadership has to say. So short term, very questionable news as far as what's going to happen. But long term, I think everybody, even the country of Venezuela and the international investors, are very bullish in Venezuela.
And you're talking about elections. There are no elections set right now. The opposition isn't even allowed back into the country at this point. Not all political prisoners have been released. I could go on. Again, we are looking at the absolute devastation of some areas of Caracas and some of the regions that have been hard hit. I mean, you say, do you think this will set things back only a few months then, that you are still quite optimistic for this in, let's say, 6 months?
I am, because again, in Venezuela, the storyline is its oil reserves. You have 300 billion barrels of oil. It's the largest oil reserves anywhere in the world. And everybody wants a piece of that. They want a piece of those reserves long term, by the way, not short term, long term, to establish the relationship that companies like Exxon and Shell and BP and others have had over the years. And then, of course, most recently, Chevron. So, stability and political continuity is very important for the oil companies. We want to be sure that the agreements that we sign today are valid 2 or 3 years from now. I think everybody's betting on that that will be the case. And that's why I and others are very bullish on Venezuela long term.
Certainly, for, as I said, especially the young generation in Venezuela, we certainly hope that you are correct as we continue to watch this tragedy unfold at this hour. Jorge Piñon, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, Bob. Thank you.